All right, guys, here we are on Atlantis Spaceship, a pretty large map, and at the tip top of it in the yellow from the team alternate/type, it is DarKFoRcE. And down in the bottom left in the purple, representing Dream Team Gaming, winner of the last game against Zaka, it is Sickness.
All right, so here we are now. aTn sending out 2 aTn players in a row. If we remember, they tried several times to get through the qualifiers, made it to the finals a couple of those times, and were brought in as they were the next highest placing finisher in the qualifiers. Right. And so when OGS disbanded, of course, we invited them. So, but you know, we saw a few times where they were prioritizing type players, and towards the end, they started bringing out the big guns of aTn as well. So,
it gives them a large variety of styles to pick from too, essentially with 2 different teams, and this is a great opportunity for them. Obviously, they're a small team. They really want to kind of prove themselves in this team league. They've been given this opportunity, and they're really going to have to try to capitalize on it. And so far, that's what they did. I mean, Zaka, I think they were hoping he was going to get a few more wins than one. Yeah. But you know, they're still not out of it yet.
No, not at all. And, you know, both these guys do have very respectable lineups, though. Dream Team has shown themselves that they're very committed. You know, they've been around for a while. They've got a lot of players who were really great from a lot of Korean organizations, so it's good to see that they're remaining competitive at the highest level, too. So. But back over here now on Sickness's side, looks like he's planning to go for a Nexus first. No real surprise. How many probes does he have queued up? Okay, so it'll probably be a 17 Nexus, but we'll certainly find out here in a second.
Yeah, and that probe trying to be very annoying at the natural, but will he succeed in being annoying? Or will Sickness want to just put down the Nexus?
We'll find out.
Let's see, he's at 400 minerals right now. The tension's building.
He's making his way down there. It's a Nexus.
That's right. Okay. And a pylon.
He's got both.
That's right. He's got plenty. He's got so many minerals.
He's annoying and economical.
That's right. Economically annoying.
Yes. That is a thing.
It is.
I will admit.
Could describe some politicians, perhaps.
Yes.
Not to name names, but
I agree.
I don't know. Moving on.
I concur.
That's right. And will there be a pylon at this base as well? Oh, the hatchery almost goes down.
Yeah.
And, Sickness's hatcheries are going to be very delayed now. He's already got Zerglings on the way, so he should be able to take his natural. But this hurts, man. Every Zerg out there is cringing right now. They hate it when this happens. But you know what? That's just life right now if you're a Zerg player. The pylon at the third base did get canceled, but it looks like it's not going to make a big difference. The natural is going to be where Sickness, or where DarKFoRcE rather, will want to put down his second base. His first second base.
Second
did I just say
base?
That? I think
I believe you did. First expansion?
First expansion.
Okay.
Natural expansion.
I'll take either of those.
First, second base.
Yes.
See, I just like to, I don't know, overly complicate things just to make people think. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
No problem.
Glad you got my back on that one.
You make me think. A lot.
Did you think?
I did. Thinking right now. I'm in a perpetual state of thinking now because of your statements.
That's a good place to be in. If you ever stop thinking, you're probably dead.
Yes, that's true. René Descartes, I think.
There you go.
Therefore I am.
There you go.
Anyway, off of freshman college philosophy.
That's right. Or iRobot, depending on if you're talking about people or robots.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep.
We can go through Asimov's robot rules. I'm okay with that, too. Robot laws. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yes, don't mean to mess that up. Hey, it's Atlantis Spaceship, and DarKFoRcE is doing a pretty good job at taking map control. He's got both the Zelnaka towers already. Speedy overlords are flying across the map, and you can see his vision is quite good, and will have to be, of course. Looks like the overlord takes one shot from that photon cannon in warning, and he's being very bold about where he places this. He knows the cybernetic score is not going to be up yet, so no threat of anti-air, really, and just wants to get a good beat on when those third and fourth gases are going to come up.
Overlords are so quick now, too. I mean, they can scout so much more than they used to be able to in the past. Oh, you know what? And I want to clarify, too. When I said iRobot, I am not talking about the Will Smith movie.
I knew you were
talking about the book. I just want to make that clear.
That's why I started talking about Asimov's robot rules.
Anyone who maybe, maybe doesn't know that it was based on a book and is nothing like the movie.
That's true.
Just wanted to make sure that that was said. All right.
Yes.
We can continue now.
Okay.
The probes transferring back to the main. They're like, we'd rather be gas probes than mineral probes.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit of a setback for Sickness, unfortunately. He'd like to have a little bit more gas at this time. I mean, it's about the stage you want to put up +1 weapons at the same time you get the Stalker and Warp Gate and things like that. So, but nothing too out of the ordinary. DarKFoRcE, though, does sit over those Vespian geysers for quite a while. Didn't see anything additional, so we'll see how he prepares for this. Looks like he takes his gas on about the normal time, immediately going into a Roach Warren Evolution Chamber at the same time.
Yep. pretty normal stuff from Sickness and DarKFoRcE right now. Nothing really terribly surprising. And, some Zealot pressure here. And that's going to force Sickness to, or DarKFoRcE rather. Why do I keep thinking Sickness is Zerg? That's going to force DarKFoRcE to make a couple extra Zerglings here to defend this. Doesn't have any spines, so he's going to have to micro that Queen pretty well as well.
Yes, he's not the North American Bay Area Zerg player Sickness. He is the Korean Protoss player Sickness. But let's see. It looks like this pressure is eventually going to be warded away. DarKFoRcE really did make quite a few Zerglings, I have to admit, and this was a pretty good feign from Sickness. Obviously, there's no forward pylons. He's not putting on any additional pressure. But at this stage, as a Zerg player, you can't take that lightly. You have to be able to react to it.
That's very true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to react in a way where you know you're going to live. Even if you overreact, you just don't know what's coming, right? You don't really know. And that's why sending in the Overlord here, he's like, all right, was that like the precursor to something else, or was that just that, you know?
Well,
and it looks like that was just that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's going to be, well, it is going to be 5 gates, which is a little bit more. Okay, now that's what I was about to say. So he's not looking to expand right away, and he throws down the 6 and then confirms my suspicions. Twilight Council finishing up as well, and he will be able to move into +2 very quickly. And I don't know, this could be just, let's see if he has a 7th gate or not, but this could be a good old-fashioned quick Blink Stalker +2. Okay, and then he throws down a 2nd Forge. Never mind. Revoke everything I just said.
All right, I will. We'll forget that. Won't worry about it too much. In the meantime, DarKFoRcE getting a Spore just kind of blindly, just defensively, just in case. You know, we did see the Twilight Council before that Overlord died, so you want to be, you know, better safe than sorry. And he is starting unit production now as well. So he's going to kind of go into that phase in the game where, you know, will we see just big-time Roach aggression, or will we see a pretty quick infestation pit as well with this? He only has 4 gas, so there is a chance that he's just going to go ahead and max on Roaches, but it seems like as time goes on, less and less Zergs are just doing the Roach max against Protoss strategy.
Sure.
Just because there is a bit of risk, right? I mean, if the Protoss defends it well, you're going to be so far behind tech-wise, it's going to be very tough to catch up.
And Sickness is looking like he wants to put down a 3rd base here in just a second. His upgrades are coming along quite well, and he is producing a number of ground units. But investing in that many gateways, he wouldn't have been able to utilize them all unless he was either going to A, all in, or B, you know, just need them defensively if he thought a big attack was coming. So that's certainly very interesting, and it looks like this probe is... I'm waiting for a 3rd Nexus here. That's the only thing that about makes sense. Okay, and he is going to start walling that in now with photon cannons. 600 minerals there.
Yeah. And that's a pretty good photon cannon wall. That's going to require a decent amount of units to get through. There's going to be some losses, obviously. I'm a little bit surprised. You know, I feel like DarKFoRcE is going to want to tech instead of just go for Roaches. It's such a big map for a Roach all-in that I would expect to see some sort of tech. I mean, either way, you know, even if you go up to Broodlords, it's going to be kind of slow getting across the map. But in this particular case, the Protoss is generally going to know way ahead of time if you're going to be moving out with a lot of Roaches.
And looks like he's trying to bait the Zergling, but the Zergling is on hold position. He's forced to warp in a Zealot, and unfortunately that Zergling will die. But this is a really nice wall, I've got to say. Oh, if he can actually secure it in time. Here come the Zerglings now, and DarKFoRcE moves away. Is he waiting for these reinforcements? He is. This is going to require a quite a concerted defense here out of Sickness.
Well, it's going to be a 2-pronged attack from DarKFoRcE. Roaches coming into the 3rd, and Zerglings potentially doing a counterattack at the natural, maybe even trying to sneak into the main. We'll have to see what he has planned for this. There's another group of Roaches coming down the middle of the map as well.
Yeah.
And it looks like he may be able to pick off a gateway if he wants to. This is a full wall, so the Stalkers have to blink over it to get past. And yeah, here's the attack at the natural as well. And is DarKFoRcE... does he have enough?
I don't know. We'll find out. He got a pretty good surround with the Zerglings. Wasn't able to inflict damage with the Roaches at the same time because of where Sickness's army was. Looks like DarKFoRcE was more concerned about the front, but he runs into a stout wall there as well. None of the photon cannons die. They're all very low in health. A really nice defense from Sickness.
It's going to be pretty rough. I think he's going to try to group up and push the natural. He thinks maybe he has enough to take on this army. But I think he also knows, too, that there's a good chance that this is not going to work out, as he did just throw down a Spire and an infestation pit. And it's a little bit later than you would want, but it's early enough that he might still be okay with it. We'll have to kind of wait and see how the rest of the game plays out. It kind of depends on how aggressive Sickness wants to be, really, at this point.
Very much so. And by the way, he's investing in his infrastructure. Not very. I mean, he's got a long way to go before he'll feel comfortable enough with getting out on the map and being able to take those roaches on his terms.
Oh,
so
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wow. Trapping a lot of roaches there. They just have to turn around and pick off whatever they can. It looks like they're going to get nothing for their trouble. What an engagement there out of Sickness.
Yeah, no kidding. This is the rough part with going for this heavy roach ling attack on this map. I mean, the Protoss is just so ready for it most of the time. Look at that wall. I mean, that
so
may seem like overdoing it, but hey, it works, right? I mean, it's a big investment, but he didn't take any damage at all at his third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now we've got our Zerg player kind of scrambling. He needs to get that hive tech out. He's not going to be able to win the game with what he's got right now. He's taking a 4th base, so he's still certainly in it. But there's going to be a time where Sickness is going to just have a really awesome army, and there's nothing that DarKFoRcE can really do to stop that at this point.
You know, the recent 200-200 Roach Maxes are really emphasizing how much overemphasis that people place on supply differences in games and things like that. At one point in this game, there was 183 supply to 106, I think it was. It's a 77 supply difference. That's massive. Sickness took almost no damage. And because of the way he had constructed his wall, because of the way he had split his army, because of the way he was defending, he took almost no damage. And so that supply difference, especially in this matchup where it's a little bit exacerbated, is a little bit overblown.
Well, yeah, I mean, in ZVP and ZVT, you generally kind of expect the Zerg to be ahead on supply for, you know, probably the first 12 minutes, if not a little bit longer here, too, maybe up to like 15 or so. But it's not a huge deal, right? Because the units for Terran and Protoss can sit back, be more turtley, be more defensive, put down 1,000,000 cannons once in a while, too.
Is this RSVP or is this Sickness? So
could be.
Julian, if you're watching, I love you. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that Zerg kind of expects to be ahead on supply. If you're even in supply and it's like the 10-minute mark, you're in trouble if you're a Zerg player generally. And, oh, you're in trouble if a bunch of Zealots come into your main, too.
Yeah, no kidding. Purple sitting over the pink creep there. Apologize who didn't see that initially, but he is coming in and trying to do some damage. Yeah, no kidding. Zealots starting to pick away the hive a little bit. Did they kill many workers? No, actually. In fact, just one worker killed in this game, and that was DarKFoRcE that ended up killing it. So, well, there we go. Looks like a couple of structures forced to be canceled there. He will finally defend, but that hive is very, very low. Another well-timed warp in at some point. We'll be able to finish that off very quickly.
Yep, he's going to need to watch his main a little bit closer now. He does have that 4th base with the rich Vespin gas, so that's going to be really, really handy when it comes to upgrades and things. You can see he's putting down a 2nd Spire as well, so he's going to be able to get the ground and air upgrades at the same time. The Broodlords that come out a little bit later are going to be very, very strong.
Yeah.
And DarKFoRcE, though, I mean, he's just playing, or Sickness rather, he's just playing in such a turtley style. I don't know if I've ever seen a Protoss this turtley, right?
He wants
to go for the very late game. Yeah, in fact, Fleet Beacon from Mothership coming up here.
Already, yeah. I love this. I love this style. I mean, so many Protoss players are really worried about overextending themselves, and why not just let the Zerg player kill themselves on your incredible army and defensive position? And that's exactly what Sickness has done, and he's done it expertly.
The thing you need to be careful about in this situation, of course, if you're a Protoss player, is that you actually, as we see, a little bit of harassment at the 3rd, and he might be able to kill some of these cannons, but the thing that you need to be careful about is when you move out with your big death ball and you want the Zerg to come to you and kill themselves on your army, they might actually be fine with that, because if they're given enough time, they're going to have a huge resource bank built up, a huge larva bank built up, and they're going to be able to remax the army much faster than Protoss. So you can play this style, and it is very strong, but you need to be careful to a certain extent. You need to be able to win those fights convincingly, because if you don't, you can just be putting yourself in kind of a rough situation in the late game.
That is very true, but as it stands now, I think Sickness has done a good job. I'm so sorry, again, once again, purple over pink and did not even see the drop. Hive does go down, so that is going to reset DarKFoRcE's tech for quite a bit. He does pull his forces back to take that down, and so now he's going to have to work off of, let's actually take a look here. Where is his Spire at? Okay, he does have double Spires down. Yeah, I should have seen by the upgrades there. So they weren't under any danger from the attack. We'll continue to monitor the situation a little bit, but should consider, I think, when we have a purple Protoss player switching on the normal colors. So
you sounded like a weatherman for a second. Sorry, it's like we'll continue to monitor the situation, and then we'll get back to you if you need to take cover.
30% chance of warp-ins at the Zerg main here today. So.
It's like 100% chance now.
Yeah, no kidding.
200% chance. It happened twice.
Yes.
I don't know if math works that way.
That's a big chance. Whoa.
It's a 200% chance of losing your hive in this game.
Yes, every time you think it's going to happen, it happens twice.
It happens twice. Well, it may happen twice. We'll see. I mean, there's a hive on the way again. It's going to need to come.
Aha, I see it this time. All right.
There
Following this. Aha.
Tiny purple
there
dot
it is. There it
over
is.
Black space.
Yes. We've got it now. All right.
That's right.
He is going to try and drop again. Looks like
DarKFoRcE
maybe a little bit more on top of this one. It should be able to start putting pressure on a base at the very least. Has a few gateway units running through the middle and is starting to build up the Stargate count as well. Both these players just kind of trading inconsequential supply for for those really, really late game units.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix Void Ray Mothership in the very later stages of ZVP can be quite good, so we'll have to see if that's what he's possibly going for. Either way, the Void Rays are going to be pretty good against the Broodlords. They do additional damage to massive units like Broodlords now, so that's something that a lot of Protoss players use in the extreme late game.
Oh, he had to kill his own gateway there to get some of those units out, but
that's a scary army.
It is a scary army. There's a lot of Archons there. They're very well upgraded. He's even got his shield upgrades coming. If we start to see air upgrades as well, we get even more scared. A few roaches are going to sacrifice themselves once again on the photon cannon wall.
Yep. They'll get a Zealot for their trouble, but at this point, I mean, the Zerg player's just kind of trying to free up some supply, too, so it's not a big deal if these roaches really don't do anything. As you can see, he's adding on 6 more Broodlords now because of that, which is pretty nice.
Wow, so this is kind of the ultimate expression of, hey, I want to see what my late game units do against your late game units. And, well,
no rush 25, KK.
Yeah, no kidding. I'll just harass and kill your hive with drops.
And we're getting into that situation, too, where there's a big larva bank built up, 61 larvae out that can be turned into units very quickly, and a pretty decent resource bank, too. I mean, obviously he'll want to get that 5th base running before too long, but it's not looking bad.
All right, well, here we go. A Neural Parasite is finished up as well. So that's certainly a threat to this mothership, but the Vortex is finished. Oh, good catch. It looks like that Infestor was trying to sneak up Neural Parasite and maybe waste a Vortex, but didn't have the ability to do so. Good snipe from the High Templar.
Yep. And a Storm going down on some Infested Terrans. I don't know. It's just kind of like, hey, you want to waste some energy before the fight? All right, sure. Sure thing. Let's
can't get that one either.
Trying to get that Neural Parasite. Here comes a third one. Will third time beat the charm? Maybe.
I don't know. Oh,
maybe.
Man.
Oh, more Broodlords on the way. 5 more, and that Infestor very, very brave.
Does get a fungal off, though.
Oh,
there's finally a blink up. Sickness deciding to waste a couple of Stalkers there to make sure that he's able to ward away those units for the time being. Now finally Infestor's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in moving up.
16 Broodlords is a lot of Broodlords. It's a lot of damage coming in.
Oh, yeah.
At Sickness, so he's going to need to be very careful. He's making a good amount of Void Rays himself as well, but Fungal can be pretty good against that too. So neither player really in an overwhelmingly good situation compositionally right now. They both got good armies.
Aww.
And those sentries kind of being sacrificed to make room for some more Void Rays, it looks like.
Yeah, poor Tickle Beam. He wants to waste all the energy before they die.
Yep.
And does. Well, okay. They are dead, unfortunately. The Archons will be able to clean up the rest of the Zerglings that they try to push on too much farther. But we're basically sitting on, what, 6 base Zerg versus 4 base Protoss for now. Could go to a 5th. Looks like that's what he is planning. Indeed. Fortunately, there's a burrowed Zergling right underneath.
Yep, that Nexus is not going to come up anytime soon. Hopefully, Sickness notices that right away. And it looks like these Zealots are not going to be able to kill the hatchery or anything like that.
All right, well, Dark Shrine, +1 air weapons, and +2 shields, all coming up for Sickness at the moment. We have super late game upgrades coming for DarKFoRcE as well. He's sitting on 2-2, and he's going to move for his air units, I should say, and moving up to +2 Carapace. Surprised that that's only being researched now, and +3 weapons. Yeah,
I mean, he wanted to spend a lot of gas to get out that many Broodlords, too, so he did have to delay it a little bit. But overall, he should be okay with it. It shouldn't make that big of a difference. But it does look like DarKFoRcE is going to need to start to defend now, and Sickness is in a position where I think he needs to know he needs to go and do something now. I mean, he can still continue to keep bases, but he's trying to avoid that situation where Zerg has just a gigantic mineral bank, right?
Yeah.
And he still hasn't noticed, apparently, that base hasn't gone down. Okay,
there
now
we
he
go.
knows. He's like, all right, cannon time.
Photon Cannon will be able to clean that up. But this Zergling, this minimal 25 mineral investment, has essentially denied this base for well over 2 or 3 minutes in game. I mean, that's shows you how important just having due diligence and making sure that you continue to be diligent about dropping down those Burrowed Zerglings to take control of the map is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Takes them a while to notice at the other base too that it wasn't going down because of that Burrowed Zergling.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if he can take both of these bases, though, he'll have more than half of the map, and he'll be in a pretty good spot then in that case. In fact, that base in the lower right is kind of the odd number base. If you take that, you suddenly have more than half of the map.
Right.
And, Sickness is kind of waiting. He's got a good amount of gas here, or DarKFoRcE, rather, is kind of waiting. He's got a good amount of gas here, but his mineral count is a little bit low because he's spending a lot on spine crawlers and drones right now.
Yeah.
But once he has, 4K, 5K minerals built up, I think we're going to start to see him get a little bit more aggressive because he knows he'll be able to replenish his stuff that much quicker.
Well, there are 71 larvae on the field. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, see, there's 2 gateways there. There's 5 gateways, 5 more coming up, so that's going to be 12, 13, 17, 18, 21, 25, 28, 30 gateways.
Yeah, good decision by Sickness to just throw down a ton of gateways. Oh, some fungals on the mothership and some of the units as well there, and it looks like, is DarKFoRcE going to start to get aggressive here?
Let's find out. If Sickness goes a little bit too far forward, he does expose himself to Neural and losing that energy as well. He decides a Vortex. That's going to be more positional than anything else. Doesn't trap that many units and does allow him to back up and start replenishing off of a little bit more expensive units if he so desires.
I think he missed on that Vortex there, actually. Did that Infestor just knurl something inside the Vortex? I swear I saw like the tentacle go into the Vortex before he dived in.
That would be awesome.
Maybe I'm just like hallucinating myself. But
yes.
I don't know. Oh, the feedbacks have been so good from Sickness.
Yeah, they have been.
No
really.
Infestors getting close at all.
Oh, that's very impressive. And throws down a couple of Storms as well to start warding away those Broodlords, but they don't do all that much damage. Another Vortex goes down. This one doesn't trap that many units either, and this is just going to have to cover the retreat here because that mothership is useless for another 70 seconds. Big warping, though, inside of the main. Oh, my God.
That's a lot of DTs. Oh, man. Expect a lot of dead buildings very, very soon here.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, DTs inside of the natural as well. And look how quickly they DPS that down. Oh,
it's fast. 3 DTs are pretty scary here.
Yeah, they are. Oh, it looks like at the same time, though, Sickness is being advanced upon as DarKFoRcE starting to make his way up. This mothership did take a little bit of damage, has to get out of there right now.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised that he doesn't have Corruptors in here with this as well. Oh, the Broodlord's taking a lot of storm damage.
Yes, they are. That mothership is getting pretty low and finally does die. These DTs are continuing to do damage, though, just cleaving their way through these buildings.
Yep. And here we have the big fight going on. Who's going to come out on top? It looks like still a decent amount of Broodlords, but the Void Rays are going unopposed right now.
Yeah,
Sickness
no
in
kidding.
a great spot.
Yeah, these +1 attack Void Rays are actually ripping through. Oh my God, that's so fast.
Yeah, GG.
GG, wow. After all of that, it is the end of the game, 31 minutes in, and DarKFoRcE goes down. Sickness takes his second game in a row.
Yeah, the